Hi, I'm Debbie Reed, presenting my case study, The Threats Over the World Wide Web. First thing with the identification analysis, this case study is a bit more difficult than most cases because you're actually dealing with more than one problem. We're dealing with possibly a problem with students and then some problems with the teacher itself with her classroom style. What I know, a teacher has been threatened by an anonymous email she received that linked to a web page with some threatening remarks. The teacher is making accusations against a student in her class, actually calling out on Randy, accusing him of the occurrence. The students are not happy with Ms. Walker's class despite receiving tips prior to the incident. Not happy with the stress in her class. It's a really tough class. So that's kind of been a problem, an issue prior to. What do I need to know? Is there a way to determine where the email originated from? Was this an actual threat or was it a prank done out of frustration? Is there any evidence to prove that the student in question, Randy, created the web page and emailed it to Ms. Walker? Problems, there are several. How can the perpetrator be identified in the incident involving Ms. Walker? How can I question the mentioned student and students in reference to the incident without compromising the trust of the student or students? And what is the punishment? Does law enforcement need to be involved? How can I assist Ms. Walker in improving her classroom skills to prevent her from having future incidents? My plan of action, when coming up with a plan of action, is important to keep several things in mind. Each step in the plan of action should be mindful of both the students and the staff. It should be carried out in a manner that promotes the success of both students and staff. One of trust. Officials must also be mindful of the importance of providing a safe environment and promote trust between all involved. The plan of action starts with number one, the attempt to discover the origin of the email. You need to consult the district tech staff, maybe some outside tech staff. Ask the proper authorities if they have any knowledge of how to locate such information. Questioning the students. I would like to include the counselor, interview a close circle of friends, begin by interviewing Randy within a group setting, and then possibly interviewing Randy individually. Consulting with law enforcement. I'm going to begin by seeking their advice. Have they had any similar cases prior to this? I need to decide whether or not to involve the law enforcement as a part of the investigation. They may help me determine that themselves. I need to determine whether any laws have been broken. If laws are broken, how does the district proceed? How can Ms. Walker be assisted with the situation as well as her teaching styles? Now that Ms. Walker has had time to calm down, I need to probably speak with her again to reevaluate the situation, to make sure that she did feel a threat possibly against her life, or maybe second thoughts, it might have just been a prank. I need to assure that no matter what, we're going to do everything to resolve the matter at hand, and we'll follow the correct policy and procedures. I'll need to also seek out some tools to assist Ms. Walker in her classroom to help prevent future incidents. What punishment fits this discretion? To determine what punishment to have, and I'm going to have to, can we determine the origin, the author of the email? We need to determine, was it a threat, was it a prank, and what punishment will actually fit the crime. To resolve this, the resolution, I'm first going to begin by attempting to find the source of the email. First, the district staff must be contacted to determine whether the source of the email can be determined. It's not likely, since it did not occur on school property. It was done over a long three-day holiday weekend. If I need to, I'll have to look for an outside source for assistance. One possible option is to trace the origin. That can be done sometimes. First, you have to locate the header of the email. And locating this depends on what email source you're using, whether it's Outlook, Gmail, Hotmail, etc. Once you locate the header, next step is locating the IP or the initiating point. This is rarely possible, but could be attempted if all possible. I know with Gmail, it will just take you back to Google, so it doesn't really, help you, but it should be attempted. My second plan of action is to begin interviewing the students. The counselor is also invited to assist in interviews. Sometimes students feel just a little bit more comfortable sharing information with the counselor rather than the principal. Give them the opportunity to speak with the counselor after speaking with the principal if necessary as well. I'm going to begin by speaking with Randy Frank's close circle of friends. When doing the questioning, make sure it's not done in an accusatory manner, but more of an investigative manner. Students will be more likely to share information if it's done in an inquiry manner rather than one of accusation. It's also important for me to create an environment of trust and explain the importance of providing safe environments for both students and teachers, especially when looking at what happened with this incident. Randy should probably come in first with a small group of his friends and to make sure that he's not feeling singled out in the incident. Because currently there is really no direct evidence linking him to the incident. It was only a gut instinct by Ms. Walker. This will also create more secure environment, make students feel more comfortable. During the interview, I make sure I watch Randy's body language. This may help determine whether I need to, further investigate or question Randy by himself. If I do deem that, I'll question him alone. Then, once I'm done with the questioning, I need to evaluate the questioning process. I need to take into consideration all the remarks made by all the students. I need to other students may be involved, that maybe somebody singled out other students that they've heard things or rumors about. Maybe I had an individual confess about the email. If so, then I'm going to move on to the punishment phase. If not, I need to determine whether or not Randy's still under suspicion. Is there enough evidence for the investigation of Randy, or is this going to be just a lost cause? As far as involving law enforcement, I'm going to begin by using law enforcement as a consulting resource. Law enforcement will quickly determine whether or not they will allow to take part. They will need to be taking part in the investigation. If the perpetrator is discovered, then we'll have to consult law enforcement to assist us with what our next step is, how to proceed. Punishment. It's very important to keep the success of the student or students in mind when invoking punishment. There could be two different scenarios in this case. One scenario is that single or multiple students are identified in creating and sending the email. The other scenario is not enough evidence is available to identify a single or multiple individuals in the case at all. When determining the punishment, the safety of both students and staff must be kept in mind when determining the severity of the punishment with such an incident. We need to determine, was it a prank, was it a threat? If we deem that it was just a prank and had individual or maybe group punishment, a few students involved, we need to have discussions with the individual or individuals. This discussion also may include Ms. Walker. Maybe there's an apology made by the student to Ms. Walker. We need to visit with that student about policies relating to threats or even bullying. May even result in school suspension, loss of technology rights and privileges for a set time. If it was a threat, looking at the individual punishment, law enforcement will need to probably be consulted to determine how to proceed. Students should be informed of the due process and make sure due process is carried out in the correct format. Student could receive out-of-school suspension or even be referred to a youth facility if they deem it severe enough. No individual has been proven for responsibility, then we have to look at other forms of punishment. And maybe there's not a punishment at all. Maybe it's best to bring in the school assembly and discuss the incident, making it clear that it was not appropriate and such behaviors will not be tolerated. Might have to step up the education within the curriculum, whether it's through a tech class or other classes. Talk to the students about proper technology use, technology etiquette, and the use of social media. As far as Mrs. Walker, there's kind of two things we need to take care of with her. In reference to the incident, I need to visit with her. She may have overreacted initially. She may feel differently now, determine where she's at. Her and I need to sit down and look at the email web page together, and then maybe with law enforcement determine whether it falls under a threat or a prank. I need to reassure her that her feelings are valued and the district will do everything in their ability to resolve the issue. I want her to feel like that we believe her, we're behind her. As far as the system for Mrs. Walker, with her classroom management or classroom teaching styles, Once the incident has been resolved, I need to meet with Mrs. Walker to look at coming up with a personal improvement plan within the classroom. I had given her tips prior, but it may need to step up to an actual personal improvement plan. Such a plan would help her prevent, reoccurrence of such incidents in the future. I may look for workshops that she can attend to help make her a more effective teacher and helps provide her some professional growth in the area. And it's also possible to put her with another teacher, a mentorship from another staff member to assist her in her classroom's teaching styles. As far as debriefing the problem, I've kind of broken it down into several slides here. I thought a lot about fairness to all parties involved, including Randy Franks, other students, Ms. Walker, and even creating a plan for Ms. Walker when I began the case study. I felt it was very important not to jump to conclusion and collect facts to make informed decision. One never wants to lose the trust of the students or staff. Once you lose trust, it's really hard to gain back. I felt it was important to value the safety and welfare of all involved. I value education without disruption. So you want to investigate, take care of it, but not disrupt the teaching and learning environment as much as possible. I also value staff and want them to receive professional development as needed to be the best teacher they can be. If there's a problem that they need to resolve in their own classroom, I need to be there and value what will help them and be the best for them. Some of the unresolved issues I felt, how can we as educators make it clearer to students that what they do with social media could affect decisions they make in the future? We hit it every year in our school, but there's still, just dumb decisions made by students that, might affect them later. Why don't teachers utilize the tips or mentoring without taking it as a personal criticism? Administrators are there to help them. They're not going to, just get rid of them or, look poorly upon them. Administration's there to help them. And how often do incidents such as these occur and go unreported or without resolution? Is this a, worldwide problem? And that's, very prevalent. Category 5 is the component 1, looking at sense of integrity and ethical behavior. As going through this case study, when questioning students, it was carried out in such a way as not to question the integrity of the students, didn't want them to feel like they were accused in any way, just trying to find out some facts about what's going on. As far as Miss Walker, I feel she was treated with integrity because she was reassured that the matter would be looked into and resolved, that we weren't just going to overlook it or ignore it. Ms. Walker had no direct evidence against Randy Franks, so it was very, very important to be mindful of Randy Franks' own integrity through the whole process. If there's no direct evidence, you don't want to go, right into accusing some student without, facts. Demonstration of sense and integrity or an ethical behavior. I'll start with ethical behavior. Information was gathered before making decisions about the ethical behavior of the students. No jumping to conclusion. There's a range of ethical behavior between what a prank is and a threat is. It's best to take time to investigate an incident where ethics are involved. You don't want to affect, I need to use good ethical behavior in making decisions about maybe students' ethical behaviors and problems they may have encountered. Once the ethical behavior of both the students and teachers were kept in mind and keeping in mind their student and teachers' ethical behavior when making decisions resolving the issue. Fair, equitable, using dignity and respect. I believe each problem was approached keeping fairness, dignity, and respect in mind when making inquiries made with the students. It was, not done in an accusatory manner at all, which, was fair to the students, made them feel dignified, showed them respect. Although there was a question of whether the incident was a prank or a threat, Miss Walker's alarm was not in question. We know that, she did feel uncomfortable. It was harmful, hurtful to her, but we just need to figure out that extent. And I feel like we did that fairly and kept her thoughts, in mind, respected them. The improvement plan that was created was fair. It was not meant as a punishment, just in a form of assistance for Miss Walker. Code of ethics. The administration disseminated a personal and professional code of ethics when dealing with the incident. Administration investigated the matter with the fairness on behalf of the students and the teacher. Neither the students or the teacher were judged prematurely. Administration used other resources to make informed decisions. They went through proper channels, went through proper procedures. Thank you.